Hello and welcome. Beate here. I am excited that you're joining me today for our business reset, and I am going to dive right into our presentation. I'm really excited that you are taking the time to come here. So I am going to talk today about what is going on in the market, what is going on not just with the market, but also with me personally, what some of these concepts that I've been working on that I want to share with you, where they come from and why I think this really matters right now. Because what I'm seeing now in the economy and amongst small businesses is really a lot of fear around where this market is going, the tariffs, and how we are going to move forward. And I want to give you some language and some insights on how we can combat this together and really lean into our own power and change some of these concepts of push to attraction, to surrender, which I certainly after the fire have a lot to say about, the letting go and the allowing to come in what's naturally yours, because the energy has been shifting so significantly in the market that a lot of the stuff that we have seen before, and you heard me rant about this, just doesn't work anymore. And so there is literally no reason to continue to do something if it doesn't work. And I am myself included in this, and I will share really openly with you today some of the challenges that I'm going through and how, as I am figuring out this path, that I want you to maybe learn from this or walk this path with me, because we are in transformational times without question. So let me talk to you about what normally a very typical path is for somebody who is starting a business or growing a business. You have a problem that you either have yourself or that somebody has, or something that you figured out that you solved. And there's a woman by the name of Georgina. She, her dogs were super allergic, so she learned how to make food and cook dog food, and now she wants to figure out how to bring it to market. And we had some ideas around maybe we do cooking classes for people that have dogs, so they can, instead of buying the food, making the food themselves. We have someone who comes from the med spa, Kurt, and he's realizing that the way these technology concepts have been going are so overwhelmingly complicated that it requires now the people that are in an office that are making money with seeing patients are spending way too much time on the technology and entering the data versus serving patients, because that's dollars in the bank. That's their job. That's what they're here to do. So he came up with this whole idea on how to simplify that. So you figure out what is the solution to this problem that you're seeing in your particular area. And what I love about my work is that I get to talk to crazy, talented, creative people that often have outrageous ideas that go beyond an attorney or beyond a bookkeeper, but they have, just some sort of small piece of something like a breadcrumb, and then they keep following this breadcrumb, trying to figure out, what is my part in this? What is my mission? What's my impact? What am I here to do with this? Because we teach what we learn. This is oftentimes interestingly enough, where the imposter syndrome comes in, because you think you have to be an authority on the subject before you can talk about it. But really what it is your transformation journey, that people want to know how you did that, so that as you can share how you did that, you give other people the hope to follow this transformation journey. That's what makes really the impact, is something that I'm learning myself, especially after the fire. And I will say that I'm going definitely through a lot of the challenges, the aftermath of such a catastrophe, which I'll share with you, because we get very excited about this idea. We say, I got it. And then we go. But then it's not quite clicking, and we can't figure out why it's not clicking. And then we have to go back to the cycle and figure out how to get excited and motivated again and not let the frustration that this didn't work take over. And then we have this spurt of productivity and power, and we move forward, and then something happens. Not enough people are showing up. You're judgmental about yourself. You make a mistake, whatever that is. And then you lose the excitement, and you have to find the excitement, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So how do we reset this pattern, which is this whole idea of the business reset? And I can tell you from my own experience, as I'm going through this, there's a part of me that is so drawn back into the way I used to do things. And every time I try to do that, it's just not working, which is why I'm sharing the struggle with you, is to help you understand that the struggle at times like this might be just normal, and that we have to recognize the pattern of this particular struggle and this transformation to come out on the other side. But when you're in it, you're in it. I was yesterday at a dinner with a very good friend of mine who also happens to be a pastor, and his wife. And he said to me that we have to recognize and honor that as we are in the thick of this transformation, that we're not out of it, we are in it. And we must give ourselves the time and the grace to allow this transformation through, the divine, through spirit, through resonance, intuition, whatever you want to call it, to do what it's supposed to do. I want to be out on the other side really bad. I do not like feeling like this. And, we lost everything on January 7th. And now it's 9 months later, and I'm like, TikTok, everybody, am I done with this? And I'm just not. And it's driving me crazy. And I'm trying to fight it. And every time I fight it, something happens and I fall back. Every time I surrender, somehow things seem to be in flow. So when the results are inconsistent, you have doubts. The market, the economy, or external circumstances. Money is tight. It's never the right time. So many pieces, and it's just overwhelming. So what do? We take a course, a class, we listen to an event like this, we talk to people, hire a coach, we invest, we figure out the proof of concept. So we do all the things that we're supposed to do. But we are really caught in a loop. And if you're very honest, let me ask you this and put it in the comments. How much fun is it to be caught in that loop? In that loop of you feel like you got the right idea, you feel you are at the right place with the right power, but it's not moving. It's not moving forward the way you want, like you're always perpetually feeling like you're missing something. It drives me absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But there's nothing I can do about it, because that is the pattern that I'm in right now. So the idea of this business reset came from, I've done quite a few of these masterclasses about unleashing your power, unleashing your inner architect, and talking about resonance and alignment. And a lot of these concepts have gone a lot further now in looking at what's happening. You always, 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 always have to look at the person that you are connecting with. And the person that you are connecting with is a human, is somebody who's going through the same issues that you are going through. So if you are experiencing uncertainty, trepidation, you're now looking at your wallet and you are cutting expenses because things are going to be crazy expensive. I mean, just go to dinner. You can't even have a normal dinner. It's not even like the super fancy dinner. It's like the restaurant down the street for less than $100 a person in Los Angeles. And when you go to the supermarket, the stuff that was like $4 yesterday is like $7, $8 today. A juice, $18. I mean, it's just insane. So you start to fall into these patterns, but your clients are in these patterns as well. If your clients are in these patterns, what we want to do is we want to stop and say, if my clients are in this pattern, if my clients are also in this loop, then what do I need to do to get to this? So Option number one, Google it. So when you Google the problem, this is what happens. And what are you experiencing just when you look at this slide? Put it in the chat if you feel so compelled to. What happens to you when you see this? That's just insanity. And I'm going to take you through this. So you start with the search. You go, here's the problem in my words, which is also what your clients do. So the understanding of what the problem is how you start to try to solve it. So now you say, maybe in your words, how do I grow my business? Or how do I start a business? Now Google, because if you don't pay for a product or a service, you are the product. So if you don't pay for Google as a browser, then Google does it so they can make money somewhere else. And that is to serve you people that are paying to be in front of you. So the search or the answers you're getting are skewed by the internet, which lies to you all the time, to help you to pay the person that's serving these results money. So now you are going to the person that's going to teach you how to do the TED Talk. Very compelling. If you were on stage, if you had a TED Talk, 1 million people saw that, would not that be automatically resulting in lots of clients? There is the 30-day Instagram Go Viral Challenge, which I signed up for and looked at it, and I thought it was junk. Then there are the people that say you need podcasts, videos, content. The more, the better. Alex Hormozy, he says, he's got like a team of 20 now. He spends like $1 million a month in just content creation, just to pump it out there. Why? Because he understands the SEO. He understands that the more that's out there through his stuff, the more he can be an influence and authority and be in front of people. So now you can also go the route of the courses, the coaching, the ads, and the events. So here, buy the ads, facilitate live events. The more people you have in the room, the more you can sell, because it's the connection that sells. All of these things make a lot of sense. It's not that. The problem is not that these things don't make sense. But if you look at this overall piece, you see what a scattered thing this is. All starting with you asking a simple question. What is it? What is it that I'm doing? What is it that I need? Then, or you might be more inclined to go down the technology route, the funnel, the traffic, conversion, leads, how to get all of that stuff in. Now, in here, you just end up stuck in front of your computer and you literally will hate your life. Over here, between the influencer and the authority, your life is exposed. You may step in front in the line of fire, especially right now in this highly charged political climate. So you run the danger of having an opinion and getting canceled, which happened to me, happens all the time, these things. So here you need to keep putting it out there, and here you need to keep on tweaking. And the result of it is like when you're an influencer, let's say you have the followers and you figure that out, well, how do you convert this into dollars? You have to always be on. I have a friend who I met through the Entrepreneur Organization, and she is on the phone literally all the time. She has to document every single thing of her life because part of her brand is to be in front of people all the time. And sometimes when I watch that, I'm almost going to myself, it must be very difficult to never fully be in the present moment and enjoy what's happening, because you always think about how the present moment could be translated in an event, in a piece of content for other people. You are missing your life. And that's not fun. Now, if you go down the authority route, well, that's a long game, because you're not becoming the authority overnight. That's consistency. I'm certainly an authority in my field, but I've been doing it for decades. You may not have decades. You may not have done it for decades. You may have just done it for a couple of years, or maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you want to start. So now you go, man, this is overwhelming. This is going to be expensive. And that's true. And then if you go in the technology route, clicks rules, it is actually unhealthy because it's antisocial and soul crushing. This is, I think, where many of these angry personalities are getting formed by people that sit constantly in front of their computer, and all they do is fighting with the algorithm. So that's your option number one, is to go out and do this. And I've done it, and I bet all of you have done it. I didn't put in ChatGPT, but ChatGPT now is kind of like taking the route of Google. The only way that's changing with ChatGPT is that Chat allows you to be a little bit more specific. So at Google, you would put in plumber. And now if you go to ChatGPT, you would go and say best plumber in Los Angeles for Toto toilets, for example. So now ChatGPT then looks at a different algorithm than Google does. So the search engines, so as a search engine, it functions a little bit different, but the pattern remains the same. Then you have option number two, and you just blow it up. You go, who needs it? Who needs any of it? And who needs the stress? Maybe it's not mine to have. Maybe I should just take a break. Maybe I should just be done with it. Maybe it's not worth it. It's too expensive, too much time, money, and energy, and I'm just really not getting ahead. And then there's option number three, where you build a foundation. Now, the entire idea of growth architecture and blueprint came from me looking at what, and this is just how my brain works. That's my super skill, is to see these patterns and to recognize these patterns. So I looked at it and said, like, how is a house built? You come up with this great idea and you want to figure out, where am I going to build my house? How am I going to build my house? And you have to make all these decisions, but the critical part is these decisions have to be made congruent and in the right order. If it is not done in the right order, you can do the right things, but the house will not be a solid built house, because you can paint a wall if the wall's not there. You can't just build a drywall. It has to be framed. It has to be, then the drywall has to go in. Then the drywall has to be, cleaned up, and it has to be dry. So then you can only paint. That's the last thing that you do. And I think that a lot of times what happens is that we forget that when we are building something, we need a plan that has the shortcuts, that's a proven plan that allows us to be individual with the stuff that we want to do, but gives us the option, gives us the plan to say, you got to dig in the ground, you're going to pour the foundation, depending on what the soil is. And then you build the ground floor, you pour the cement, you pour the base, you put the foundational pieces or you pull cement and steel pillars into the ground if you're on a hillside like we are. Or you have to get the people in to compact the dirt before you can even do anything. But there are very specific things that need to be done. And what do? We oftentimes, when we go the Google model specifically, we don't do any of that, because we think that if we have one of these pieces, let's say we have the kitchen, then we must be able to figure out how to build the rest of the house. And it just doesn't work. I've been looking at this for decades and decades and decades, and I'm like always going back to the same thing. Why is it so difficult to tell people that they need to build a foundation? And I have the answer for you, because it's not sexy. How do you know that if you build a business, that you need to build a solid business foundation and design yourself a business model if nobody ever talks about it? Because it is contrary to what internet marketing and sales tells you. Sales tells you, get rich in the niche. right? And if you get rich in the niche, that means you have to pick one particular piece. That is the piece that you hone in on. That is the piece that is your piece. And then you find affiliates that have these other complementary pieces, so that if somebody comes to you and you cannot serve them, at the very least, you can hand them over to somebody who can serve them. And then you make the money on it by an affiliate commission. But that only works if you are having this one piece and then somebody else has this other piece. That's how internet marketing has been designed. It has literally been designed to keep you in this craziness of the loop. And all you ever do is try to find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that somehow then is the key to make it all magically fall together. But because this concept of what really needs to be done on how to build this solid business foundation is not popular, very few people do it. And that's why they're caught in the loop. And that's why the marketers and the course creators and the and all these people are in business. So when you start with the foundation, it's not a get rich quick thing. It's actually work. And a lot of people don't want to do the work. But if you never buy a hut on a beach that looks like it's going to fall apart. So why would you do that for your business? Why would you allow that to be your reality? Why would you allow this thing that you're building, that you put your heart, your sweat, your passion in it? Why would you allow that to not be built on a solid foundation? So this particular piece has been my pet peeve for a really long time. And that's good and that's bad. It is bad because it's not a niche. It's not niche enough. And I've really struggled to take this and say, what do I do with this that I can help you? You know, the people that are doing it, the people who have taken these programs, you know, we've had tens of thousands of them, and, you know, they created millions and millions and millions of dollars. But my mission, when I was in my plant journey at the beginning of the year, was that I was told by spirit, divine energy, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, that I am now at a pivotal point in my life where I have to give you everything I know. That it is no longer about my ideas, but about me giving you the support to make your ideas happen. That I'm here to now give my IP away, which was a crazy thought. Like when I got out of this journey and I sat with this, I'm confused. I'm like, what do you want? What is this about? Why? You know, why am I asked to give my IP that I've created all these years and put all this time and energy in it? Why am I asked to be giving this away? And I think it is because we go in our transformation journeys in our own lives, we go through different pieces. And I have built many years ago this concept of the 5-star success blueprint. We also call it the $40 million blueprint because it's generated probably way more than that by now. I've created a system that is so simple that it only has 5 words. Because my skill set over all these years is watching, you know, this complexity that I just showed you and looking at this, and I'm going like, this is nonsense. It's too complicated. But it's designed to be complicated because, you know, the system wants you to be in the matrix. The deeper you are in the matrix, the more you are going to be caught in it and believe it. The only way you get out of the matrix is, you know, with Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. It's when you actually step out of the matrix and you go, oh shit, I'm in a matrix. But you don't know it when you're in it. So this is what I want to encourage you to do today, to really look at this. Are you caught in some sort of pattern? And you want to break it? Is it really working? Is it really not working? So we are going to be diving into this. And I have in here, I have the 5-Star Success Blueprint. So I am sharing this with you right now. So you should see a link here somewhere where you can just go ahead and download this 5-Star Success Blueprint. We usually sell this as like one of our, I think it's a $27 giveaway engagement piece, but I give it to you. So go ahead and download it. Let me know if there's any difficulties that you have with that. But I am going to let you have this, download this, and then move along with me, because this is really the most critical piece. And I'm going to take you through this. Obviously, we can spend hours on this, but I want to just give you enough to recognize where you are at right now and to help you to solve this equation of where we are at. So we have to think about always the first is the idea. What is the original idea of the business, and is the idea even relevant right now? Because things are changing in the market. For example, I have been extremely involved in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's backfired. It's backfired for years. Why is it backfiring? The minute you say inclusion and you say, I want to include women, men feel excluded. The minute you say this is the Pan-Asian Association, everybody who is not in that community feels excluded. The minute you say, I want to invite the Black and brown community, the white community, the Asian community might have an offense with that. So no matter how we are doing it, unless the idea is everyone is welcome, it falls flat. So we have to go back to the drawing board and say, if we are an all-women organization, like I'm on the board of Women in Technology Hollywood, then what do we need to do to change this message now? So that's my first question to you. Is your idea, and write this down and really follow along with this, because I'm here to help you and give you content. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And then we talk about whether or not that's right for you, if you want to join, but that's entirely up to you. I'm here to help. Since the fire, a lot of things has changed in my life, where I now no longer feel that I can push or persuade or follow these same techniques, but that I now have to lead with a different model. And so not just am I leading with a different model, I want to show you how this model works, bringing in people that are resonating with you without these, the offer walks out, if 5 minutes after I sign off type of thing, but really help people to come to better conclusions or better understanding of what they need based on truthfulness. People call it authentic. And then you decide, because you already know what you need. You're here for a reason, and I honor that. So I want to make sure you get plenty out of it. So the idea is always about, what is it that I'm doing? Is it relevant right now? Do I know who I'm selling to? Who is my avatar? Is it an avatar that's actually existing, or is it a phantom avatar? What problems are they having? And what is the problem that I help them actually solve? And why me? Do I have the authority? Am I an expert? Why am I the right one to help them with this? And what part of this do I want to help them with? When you have this first piece, this idea, and this is what you must spend the most time with, because if that is not in place, everything else that you do will be sizzling by the wayside. Because this is the foundation. This is the foundation of your business. Is what is it? And that has to be so clear in your mind that you're like a radio tower emitting that frequency, which I'll share with you in a minute. But I feel this is really, really, really absolutely critical for you to spend some time on it. And now the challenge, in doing an experience share here. So when my house burned and my office burned and everything burned, and I'm now sitting here in this really, really dark place where, one of my clients and friend, Amy, calls it, when you go from one version into another version, so I'm going from version 2.0 and version 3.0. But what's that look like? And then the grief and the heaviness that comes with all of this. You're in transformation. You want to be out of this transformation so bad, but you're in it. So if this is you, and if you're struggling with some of the same stuff, the message that came through me last night, after I talked to our friends, and, as I said, my friend's a pastor, maybe it's time for you to sit on this and go back to the basics and say, what am I doing here? And then, I had this conversation with my team yesterday, and I'll share with you, we are going to be making some changes as a result of it, because, I get the message, but I'm not clear what the message is. So I know I need to do something differently, but how am I going to do that differently if the message is not quite clear? Because I'm still in the thick of it. So if that's what you're experiencing, that's completely normal. I have done this, I don't even know how many times. I've lost my business in a tsunami. I lost my business, as a result of a tsunami, because one of my photographers vanished and died tragically. And I lost $500,000 in 24 hours in September 11th. I lost my entire production business overnight after a big earthquake and rebuilt it only to lose it again. So I understand the process, but when you're in the process, it's like you suddenly, can't remember anything of what it's been like. So let's go to number 2, the offer. Once you have clarity on what it is that you are doing or where you're going, or at least the direction, now you can start talking to your clients and figure out what's the offer that you need to create that solves the problem. Unless you're very clear where they are right now and what their problem is at this very moment, there's nothing you can solve. You are guessing at best. That's when the phantom avatar is buying a phantom offer that you think they should buy because you think they have an awareness that that's their problem. I'm going to give you an example that I tell all the time, because it just puts it so perfectly. I had a call of a woman that wanted to be on my podcast, the Business Growth Architect Show, Founders of the Future. And she says, I'm a boundary coach. And I knew immediately that she was broke. There is not one person in the world who has a problem with boundary setting who has awareness that their problem is boundary setting. What is the awareness of the problem that they're having? That other people take advantage of them. So she should be a coach to help people to not be taken advantage of. That is a boundary setting coach. But you cannot sell a solution your customer is unaware of. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Because go back to the Google slide that I showed you earlier, because that's what they Google. They Google how to not have people take advantage of me, and boom, internet marketer that is half as good as you, but better at understanding these aspects of it that they will not tell you. They're getting the traffic and they're making the sale, and you are not. And once you have your system and your offer in place, now you're building systems. Only then are you building systems, because then you know what you need to bring this offer to solve problems for clients. In systems, that's operational systems, that's project management software, that's CRMs, that are sales systems, lead generations, whatever that is. This is what we're building here. And then once we have that, we know what team we need, who we need to hire. You automate before you hire. You then hire the team that operates the systems, that brings the offer and solves the problem for the client. And then you know the kind of leader that you need to be to run these teams, that run these systems, that bring these offers to solve problems for your clients. It is literally that simple. If you go through this, and Kurt, who was in my program, and he's been in business for a long time, and he's done, he's been a CEO and operations guy for a long time. And he said to me after he went through this in Turn Your Talent into Business, and he was in cohort number 3, he says, oh my God, I wished I would have had this. That would have saved me so much time and money. But nobody tells you this, but I'm telling you this, and I'm giving it to you for free because I want you to succeed. Now, the 5 Success Blueprint, as you can see here. So these 3 pieces, the idea, the offer, and the system, that's the business development aspect of your operation. So this is when we go into a little bit of a higher level, but I want to show it to you so you have the whole system clearly outlined so you can see what it actually means. The leader, the team, and the system, these 3 pieces need to collaborate and cooperate for systems and processes to work. So this has to be a collaborative effort. So these 3 items need to go in there. And then the idea, the leader, and the team, that is what the leadership and the team development requires, these 3 pieces. And this is really critical and often overlooked because unless the leadership and the team buys into this overall idea, it also cannot work. So the way I've set this up, and a lot of this, honestly, I think it gets channeled at some point because I sit with this for so long and I'm going like, how do I explain it? How do I explain it? How do I explain something really simply? And I talk to, some of the people that do EOS and that do, work in the entrepreneur organization. And my friend Michael Cato said to me when I did this in like 45 minutes for a learning day, he said to me, this is the most simplified and most powerful version I've ever seen. He says other people spent like days on explaining this. I've never seen it this clear. So it works. So now let's talk about the reset part, which is why you're here. Let's reset this for you. How do we reset this? We reset this, number 1, and write these things down by identifying the current conditions in your industry. What is it? Are tariffs affecting you? Is the age group affecting you? With Chris, he has this idea that a lot of baby boomers are retiring and have no succession plan and no plan to sell the business. And there's a lot of businesses that have great viability, great cash flow. And if all these businesses will close, we would be hard pressed to find a proper plumber or an HVAC guy. So what are the current conditions in your market that you need to be paying attention to that create an opportunity that you can take advantage of? And then you need to do this hard look at yourself. Is what you do relevant? This is a question I ask myself right now all the time. Now, I know that building business model is relevant, but yesterday, and it was literally yesterday, it dawned on me, most of you don't want to learn how to do this. You want to know how to do this. So how do I show you how to do it without you having to sit down and learn it? And so we have had some ideas on how to do that, but it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. It's these nuances you need to be really clear about. What are they saying? Nobody sits down and says, how do I learn how to build a proper business model? How do I create a proper foundation for my business? But when people understand these elements of that need to be in place, they just want to know how to do it. So I have to change my own language to address this because is it working? Am I reaching enough people? And I would be lying if I told you that since January, it's been an easy path or that I've even had the time to put the same amount of time in the business that I had done previously. I have to do taxes on something that's burned, like all my receipts burned, all my statements burned. So I had to recreate all of 2024 to do my taxes. We walked off the plane in flip-flops and white flowy ceremonial clothes after we just got married. We didn't even have a jacket. I didn't have a wallet. I didn't have a purse. So we had to, buy a whole bunch of stuff. And then there's insurance. So I spend hours and hours and hours on doing this. And I'm thinking like, how am I going to get myself back into being of service and helping my my people, my community, while I am so deep in the thick of it? And then, do you believe it? What is it that you actually believe in it? That is something I get back to over and over and over and over again. What do I believe? What is it that I believe? So follow me here for a second. I want you to just close your eyes here for a second and think about this. Like, what is it that you actually believe in? Are you here to be in service? Is what you do really meaningful? Do you really, truly in your heart feel that you're here to serve people? That if they knew and had what you offered, that this would be life-changing, that they'd be better off. One of the internet marketers, Jeff Walker, does this exercise where he says, well, if you had a video camera and you'd look at people before and after and you'd film them, what would they look like? Would they be smiling more? Would they be happy? Would they be clapping? Would they be on a plane going on a vacation? Would their skin feel better? Would their bank account be fuller? What actually is it? But unless you have that deep-seated belief in what you do, it cannot work. It just can't. Because that's the thing. And then, is it aligned with what you believe in right now? Oh, now that is a very big question. Alignment. Alignment means that you're almost like, alignment is like a laser beam of energy, of light coming all the way through you. You probably heard about chakras, about energy alignment. When everything is in alignment, it is easy. If it's out of alignment, it's bumpy. It's trying to get back into alignment. So if it's aligned, it has to be aligned with your true belief system. Otherwise, it's what's called a double binding message. I did a great podcast episode with David Nagel, who's a great mindset coach, on this. And he said that a double binding message is when you say one thing, but deep down you believe another thing. So when you say, I'm really successful, I can help a lot of people, and then the internal voice says, who are you kidding? You're broke. Look at your bank account. There's nothing in there, or your pipeline's dry, or you're spinning in circles. So it's important for you to give yourself these questions. What problems does it solve right now? Does it actually solve a problem right now? And if the problem is changing, which it always does, because we are in a dynamic environment, we're not in a static environment. And this is the big, big, big change that you must recognize. The breaking of the system, right, is a pattern you cannot stop. But for you, nothing matters until you have a business model. Nothing. You cannot build on something that does not have a foundation. It is virtually impossible. It's impossible. First wave, first wind, first sandstorm, you're done. So resonance is a transmission. So this is the concept that I've been thinking about a lot lately. When we lost everything in the fire and people came to us and helped us, we must have sent out a transmission of what it was that we needed. So you are emitting a signal, a transmission to the world. What is it that you're transmitting right now? Then there is the reality of your world. This is what I talked about with the double binding message, where you lack of money, time, knowledge, client structure, other people's opinions, past experiences and failures come in, where that's a perpetual doubt that we have. What if we're missing something? What if we are somewhere where we're not supposed to be? You're also transmitting that. That's your insecurity. That's transmitting. Then your wisdom, what you've learned and what you know and what you truly believe in, what you know, your lived experience, because people know if you're full of shit or not. They do. They smell it from a mile away, especially this new generation. I mean, they grew up around this internet marketing stuff. They look at this and they go like, they're not even going on social media anymore because they know it's all a lie and it's not making them feel good. Why would they? So your core belief, why are you here? Are you here to do something? Are you here to make money? Are you here to help other people? Are you here to leave the world a better place? What is your part in it? I was at this event for this Impact Accelerator Summit for founders that was so privileged to be invited to be a mentor at. And I met a woman that has figured out how to replicate heart cells, not just stem cells, heart cells. And over this 13-year journey, they figured out how to do this, and it had a heartbeat. A heartbeat. Heart cells replicated, having a heartbeat. And she said, I am here to create hearts. Do you feel that impact, me telling just that story? Can you imagine what that felt like when she said that? Like we all sat there, we had tears in our eyes. It was such a powerful core belief that came from such a pure, empowered point of her body that we all went like, holy crap, that's crazy. That is where I want you to be. What is your core belief? Because you don't have to know the path yet, because the path is not clear unless the core belief is clear. The hope, what you want them to know, what is it that you give to them that's going to be better? And you're also transmitting the fear and uncertainty, what holds you back. Every piece of content you send out, every email, every conversation is a radio transmission that you send out in the world. So what are you transmitting to the investor clients and the world? And thank God I have really good friends. And when, I was at this brunch with with my friend Matt, who coaches people that get out of corporate or that are in corporate and are just in absolute misery. And he said to me afterward, he says, it's very clear that you are going through something, and it's like we are watching it and we see you're in it, but we all know you're right there. It's about to lift. You need people to tell you the truth about where you are at. And it's not your family. And it's 100% not your mom. Your mom's job is here to make you feel good and protect you. You need to be surrounding yourself with people that tell you the truth, because this is absolutely critical. What are you sending out in the world? I had to come to terms with my own, I don't want to say confusion. I'm not confused, but I'm hurt. And I am traumatized, and I am recuperating from one of the greatest catastrophes of my life. It's something I don't wish for anybody. So let's talk about why this really matters. So this photo here was on the 8th in the morning when our neighbors tried to get into the Palisades to take a look on whether or not our houses were still there. And you can see there's no houses, flames everywhere. They got this far the next day, and you can see, so this is where our house normally is. That was my car. That was my husband's Suburban, our car. And this here is the Tesla that was in the driveway. And there's no house. So we're looking at this image and we're blowing it up. We can't find it. And then we were able to go there, and this is where our house once was. There's nothing. This is what it looked like. It burned at 2,000 degrees for 18 hours. And then here, me, the gold digger, trying to sort of figure out what do I do now? What does this even all mean? And what it means is that when you are in a catastrophe like this, you have to think about what's my core belief. So that's where I had to go to, which is what I'm telling you. So I'm not telling you anything I'm not doing, even though it's messy. And my core belief is I do believe in the law of polarity. The law of polarity is a universal law. It's a spiritual law, universal law, a scientific law. And it says, if it exists on one side, it must exist on the other side. So if you do accounting, you know that if you book something on one side, it has to be on the other side. Like there has a plus and a minus. Like it has to be somewhere. When you go to sleep at night, there's the morning. But these two things only can exist because the two exist as a pair, the opposite. You only know that you're cold because you know what to be hot feels like. Otherwise, that wouldn't be even anything you'd interpret. And so the law of polarity says if it exists on one side, it must exist on the other side. So if this complete destruction, and this is me where I see it for the first time. That was a photo that we've taken for a radio station in Germany. The only reason we were able to get in is on press passes, thanks to my beautiful friend Christine, who got us a television interview with a German radio station. And we went in with press passes when everything was closed. It's the first time I'm seeing this. And so you have to remember that when something breaks, the fire broke it, but the fire can build it. It's something else that has to build it. The people that are breaking down the systems, that are implementing the tariffs, that are causing all this chaos, people who break shit don't build shit. They just don't. The bully doesn't build. The bully bullies. And it's not a political belief. This is a belief into, life history. People that take systems down don't know how to build them. They just know how to destroy something, because they can't build it. So instead of building and being a creator, they have to come up with something, and then they leave a destruction. But once you have destruction, what are you going to do? You're going to have to build. So you know how to build. That's why you're here. You are a creator. You're a builder. And you know how to solve problems. And you can rise like a phoenix. Because if I'm doing this, you're doing it too. You're doing it right there with me. It is a law. If you're struggling right now, you're struggling to get to the other side. That's the reframe I want you to have. So what's happened since then? So this is how I started. This was, this place in Santa Monica that we're in right now, which is not our house. It doesn't have an outside space. It doesn't have a balcony, but it's, where we are. I had to start from scratch. And then I had this amazing transmission that came through for me. And I literally sit here one day and I have this vision of this blue phoenix coming through. And I came up with the term founders of the future. So now we went and, added this to the podcast. So it's the Business Growth Architect Show for Founders of the Future. Because I do really believe that we are at this pivotal time. You are here, and I can tell you this with 100% certainty. If you are here and you're listening to this because you got this call. You got the call that you need to create something for the future that helps people, because founders of the future create the future they themselves want to live in. They don't break stuff. They just ignore it. They focus on the creation, on the design. And when you look at yourself, your community, I saw that Ron Perlman, the actor from Hellboy, just launched a new movie model on how movies are being made with crowdfunding and to take down Hollywood. It is everywhere, everywhere. Music industry, you name it. There's disruptors in every different area. You are here because you're one of them. Congratulations. You think this is easy? Then everybody would be doing it. You're here because you've been called to do something that is difficult, because it requires somebody like you who has this power and energy to do this. So I came up with these 3 pieces, and that's the Creative Forge, the Growth Forge, and the Legacy Forge. And in these 3 levels, this is the business blueprint, which we do with the Turn Your Talent into a Business. And let me just go back here 1 second. One moment, I have to go back here. So we have these 3 levels because we want these 3 levels to be at the level that you're at. So the big idea that I have is that, sorry, that I had to redo that again. But in the Creative Forge, we built the foundation and the model. In the Growth Forge, once we have the model, we can know how to grow it. And in the Legacy Forge, we are going to scale it. Each one of these has different pieces. So what came to me, and I have to hurry up because I'm running out of time here, but the idea is no longer am I going to just tell you how you can do it for yourself. I'm going to show you how you can do it for your clients. So we are building this now in a completely different way. With the way we're building this, I'm building a SaaS model with an AI bot, where everything that I know and I've done, and I have literally hundreds of hours, maybe thousands of hours of recordings and documents and transcripts that I have, where I will show you how I do things, how I reframe, how I help my clients, how I run facilitation, how I run diagnostics, how I apply the 5-star success blueprint, how I work on the airtight avatar. I'm going to give you everything. But we're building it, right? So let's talk about how do we go here. So I always believe that when you're here, you're at an intersection and you're called to say yes or no. That's it. If you say no, that's fine. If you say yes, then you and I should be having a conversation. The Creator Forge is now in this first piece, and that is the Turn Your Talent into a Business, which we're going to go to now, where this is the part where you really need to get clear on what it is that you are doing, because you have to, in order for you to know what we're doing, you have to be able to understand how this works, right? So the first part is to go in and say, how do I know how this looks like in action? And we're launching this on September 9th. There's 2 ways you can do this when you're on this page, and it's turnyourtalentintoabusiness.com. You can either go and sign up immediately. It's $3,000. It's 8 weeks. It's done with you. So I am in there with you. And you are in 8 weeks designing a business model. I can guarantee it. Every single person I've done this with, you have a business model in 8 weeks. You know what you're doing. You know who your clients are. You know what systems you're needing. You're having a plan, and you walk out with a pitch deck. We're going through all of these things together. Can you figure this out on your own? Yes, of course, everybody can figure everything out on your own. It's time or money. You decide what's more important to you, time or money. If you don't have time because you have a family, you need to go to market, you can't afford to lose any more money on not having figured this out by dilly-dallying. People always think like they're saving money by not putting $3,000 in a course. Well, you could be making that, a lot of people, when we are in this, close deals while they're in this and pay for the whole program while they're in it. I can't say it's typical, but I'm saying it is not uncommon that this kind of like happens. So we go in the program through the diagnosing and designing the plan. We are going from selling to solving. We talk about the avatar. But what's different about this is that it's already AI powered. So I give you the prompts. The reason this is so successful is because we are in these live sessions and I guide you through talking out loud these things that are coming up. And the way it works when you work with me is it literally opens a whole channel, because I work with a lot of intuition and spirituality. And anybody who's ever seen me, talk to me, or been in a session with me knows this is true. It comes right through me. And if it comes through with the transmission, I'll give it to you. That's my job. You then go and you say it out loud. I say it out loud. In the prompts, we're pulling out the pieces from the transcript that are relating to you. And then I give you the prompts on how to run it to actually create this entire workbook. So this workbook, is designed to follow this. So you have this a repeatable process. There's an online companion. It's not an online program. We are going to do it live together via a Zoom meeting, but this is not done by yourself. What's changing now in addition to this, and I'm sorry that I'm going a little bit over here. What changes now a little bit is that we are going into the beta version of making the aspects of this that you can use for your clients and learning how to implement this. Because if you are in a bind right now and you are not clear about how to do that, then I want to give you these elements that I've already created. That's what we're building this Creative Forge SaaS model out for. It's going to be $100 a month. So it's going to be super cheap. And with the AI version that we're building, you will be able to then access my knowledge, and it'll help you then to build these things even when we are not live. So that will solve the problem of, you just want to know how to do it. When it comes up, you then know how to go and do it, and you know how to do it for your clients. So that's what's changing right now. I invite you to do one out of two things. You go to turnyourtalentintoabusiness.com, take a look at this if it resonates. If it resonates, sign up. Don't wait. There is no then, there is no when, there's only now. Sign up. Use the code Palisades, all capital, for $250 off coupon, my gift to you for showing up to this live. If you are not sure and you say, Beate, I really need to speak to you, go to uncoverysession.com and speak to me, or send me an email at my initial bc@growtharchitect.biz and say, I need to speak to you. I want to know if this is the right thing. I set some time aside. I'll talk to you. I'm here to help. And that's what I want to go through this today. What really would help me if you could maybe put in the chat like a quick takeaway and tell me maybe one thing that you've taken away from today's session that you take with you. And I'm here for you. I hope this resonates. I hope you have some good takeaways. Don't be a stranger. I'm in it like you. I'm in my own transformation journey, but I have the system figured out. That doesn't mean that I'm not going through the process, but I have the system figured out and I can help you with this piece. And with that, I thank you so much for being here. I honor your time. I honor your commitment to yourself, and most of all to the people that you came here to help, because that at the end of the day, we can never forget. We're in service to help more people get what they want. That's what we're here for. And with that, I say goodbye. Thank you so much, everybody.